everyone, today we're kicking off the Christmas DIY season here on this channel. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a Santa emoji down in the comments below. It really helps my video out and I work real hard on all of these DIYs. This is not just the same old you see every single year. With that being said, let's begin.
The next time you're in Dollar Tree, grab some of their punch bowls, and if you want to, you can get these smaller fluted bowls. I decided I wanted to spray paint my punch bowls, so I spray painted some of them white, some of them gold, and some of them red. After the paint completely dries, you want to glue two punch bowls together. I use E6000 glue and then a little bit of hot glue. The hot glue is just going to make sure the bowls stick together immediately, and the more heavy duty glue is going to make sure that this doesn't fall apart on you. We're making jumbo ornaments. Some of the ornaments I decided to glue those smaller fluted bowls on top of. For the ring of the ornaments, use door hangers. You just have to glue them to the bowls and hold it in place as you wait for the glue to dry. You can get some greenery and glue it around the door hanger. I think this makes it look so much nicer. The ornament I'm making right here, I did not use the little bowl on the top. Instead, I just used the door hanger and some greenery. And with this one, I decided to go in with some gold paint and add that on top of the red, and I think this looks so nice. It gives it more of a distressed look. These turned out amazing. I made jumbo ornaments last year and I wanted to know if you guys wanted to see them with colors, so I decided to do that this year. These went so viral last year. I see so many people recreating them on Instagram this year and TikTok. I'm so proud of this DIY. For this DIY, you're gonna need a planter. I'm using an old planter I got from Dollar Tree's Plus section. If you do not have an old planter, just go to a bigger hardware store like Home Depot where they carry them all year round. You're also gonna need a pizza pan. Depending on the size of your planter, you'll either use the $1.25 one from Dollar Tree or the $5 one. You're gonna spray paint or use acrylic paint to paint the pizza pan a hot cocoa color. I'm using warm caramel from Rust-Oleum, and then if you want to, you can spray paint your planter. I'm just spray painting mine red. Now grab a pool noodle from Dollar Tree. I'm using a white pool noodle. I'm taking some red duct tape and wrapping it around the pool noodle to look like a straw. I wrap the masking tape about halfway down and then I slice the pool noodle in half. Then on one of the ends of what's supposed to be a straw, I cut in an angle. Then I take the rest of the pool noodle and cut slices that are supposed to be my marshmallow. I got white craft foam from Hobby Lobby. It's cheaper to get it there than Dollar Tree. I'm going to go ahead and trace the top of my pool noodle on top of the craft foam and then cut out those circles so that I can glue over the pool noodle pieces so that that hole isn't showing. We're making a jumbo hot cocoa mug. To create the handle that we need for the planter, I'm using a red pool noodle from Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut off a piece. I put hot glue on both ends of the pool noodle and then I hold that against the planter waiting for the hot glue to completely dry. If you let it go too soon, the pool noodle is just going to come right off. Now place your pizza pan on top of the planter and start to glue down your straw, and then add the marshmallows and glue those down. This part isn't necessary, however, I used my Cricut to cut out some snowflake vinyl pieces that I placed on the planter. You're left with this giant hot cocoa mug that you can use both outside and inside. You can also use this as a prop for a photo shoot. This is so cute. Can you imagine a little newborn inside of there? It would be so precious. For this next project, you need gift wrap. You can get a bunch of great options at Dollar Tree, and then you need boxes. You can use boxes you already have at home, or if you need large boxes, go to Home Depot. You can get all three sizes for around $5. You're gonna wrap up these boxes as if you're wrapping up a present. If you have a larger box like I did, you're gonna have to cut it oddly and tape it in different ways than you normally would wrap up a present, but pretty much you're just making it look like a wrapped present. I'm using 3 boxes in different sizes total. So now you're gonna get a broom handle from Dollar Tree. What you're gonna do is you're gonna create a hole in the center of your bottom box. And once you have that hole, you're gonna push the broom handle through it. Then you're gonna make 2 holes on opposite sides of your middle box. It depends on how you want that box to lay. So I wanted mine to be on the side. So I made a hole at one of the corners of the box and then on the other corner of the box. And as you're pushing your box through, you want to be gentle. You don't want to push too hard, otherwise you're going to mess it up. If you decide that you don't want to put your boxes on their sides, all you have to do is glue all 3 boxes together or stack them on each other and leave them as is. Now I just got some bows and I'm going to glue them to the front of my boxes. Dollar Tree carries so many bows right now. You have so many different options to choose from. Here you have a stack of presents. Because I use big boxes, I have a bigger piece of decor. You can always use smaller boxes to fit inside of a smaller home. It's completely up to you. This is so easy to do and super affordable, which I love. For our next project, we're going to use white Dollar Tree foam board to create a jumbo Little Debbie Christmas tree cake. You will draw the shape of your Christmas tree on a piece of foam board. Now what I do is I cut one side out first, and then I take the piece I cut, flip it over, and place it on the other side of foam board I haven't cut. I then trace that piece of foam board and cut that out. The reason I do this is I'm able to get both sides of the Christmas tree to look the same as best as I can. You'll need a front and back for your tree, and afterward I realized I wanted my tree to look like somebody bit into it, so I went ahead and cut off some of the tree. Now for the sides of the tree, I cut 3-inch wide pieces of Dollar Tree foam board. I'm just going to cut a bunch of these pieces, as much as I can get out of one piece of foam board. You're going to take these pieces of foam board and bend them so they're more pliable. You're then going to glue these pieces down to one of the trees that you have, holding it in place as you wait for the glue to completely dry. I had to use 3 of these pieces around the tree, and I just cut the pieces that were hanging off of the bottom right off. Now glue your other Christmas tree on top of what you just did. Now the fun part, decorating the cake. I got some glitter craft foam from Hobby Lobby. I'm going to use the red one to create the icing that I need. I just draw the design on top of the tree itself so I can figure out how it's perfectly going to be placed. Cut that out and lay it on top of the tree. I then glue down the red foam, and then I take green styrofoam, cut out some little slivers of it that I cut down to be the sprinkles that go on top of the tree, and then I glue those down. But I lay them out first before gluing them down. That way I wouldn't make any mistakes and get glue in spots I don't want it to be. You just stand this up and you're good to go. If you want to make a base, you can use foam board to make the base, or a piece of wood. This is meant for indoor use. If you use it outside, I don't think it's going to hold up well outside, just because the foam board from Dollar Tree is too thin. You can always use the bigger sheets of foam you get from Home Depot to create pieces that you can use outside.
I've been getting asked to make some outdoor nutcrackers. So to do this, I'm going to be using these canisters from Dollar Tree. They carry them in 3 different sizes. So I have some large ones I painted last year to make toy soldiers. I'm going to be using those. And then I got some smaller ones that are new. The bottom canister, you want to make sure that you put weight inside of there if you're going to use this outside. So fill it up so that it's heavy. And so I'm just going to glue the canisters to each other. I'm alternating from the lid being at the bottom and the lid being at the top. Before I glue on the smaller canister, I paint it and then I glue it on. If all of the canisters were unpainted, I would have glued them together first and then I would have painted. Now I start to paint some details onto my nutcracker. I'm using acrylic paint for all of this. Do not use watercolors. If you use watercolors, it's just going to come right off. I used a pool noodle for the arms of my nutcracker, so I cut off 2 pieces of the pool noodle and then glue them to the sides. For the facial features and the hat, I'm going to be using craft foam. I feel like it gives it a much cleaner look versus painting, and it's just so much easier to control. If you make a mistake, you can just cut another piece and then glue it on. So I'm sharing with you guys, you can either paint all of this or you can just use craft foam. When I show a DIY, it doesn't have to be followed step by step. It's there for inspiration, and then take with it as you please. You just can take some elements, or you could take all the elements. This is just, you can see 2 different options. Before I glue on the black craft foam for the hat, I glue down another canister so that the craft foam has something to stick onto. For the hands, I'm just gluing styrofoam balls that I painted. For my nutcracker's hair, I got a microfiber cloth from Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut little pieces and then glue that down. I ended up making 3 total with varying heights. If you want to cut costs, you can use less canisters. Maybe don't use the pool noodles and paint arms on. The craft foam, pool noodles, styrofoam, it's all water resistant. If you weigh down the bottom, it should be able to withstand wind. The only thing I don't know about is if you live in an area that gets really hot during December, don't just use hot glue. Go ahead and use something like super glue or E6000 to make sure all the canisters are really secure.
I hope you guys are enjoying the video so far. I have a random question for you. I saw this image. Let me know which store you would bring back. I would bring back Blockbuster because that was like my favorite store growing up. I used to love going inside of there and renting video games, specifically Bust a Groove. So I think I would bring back Blockbuster. Let me know your answer down in the comments below.
For this DIY, you're going to need a metal wire hook from Dollar Tree, 2 of their 12-inch wooden slabs, an 18-inch wood plank. This part's optional, 4 of their wooden crates, and then you're going to want to get one of their big crates you're going to find in the plus section. We start off by taking the wooden slabs and screwing them to the back of the crate. We use 2 screws for each slab. Then we take that 18-inch plank and screw that into the wooden slabs. Now take your wire hook and screw that through the wooden slab. This comes with screws. We didn't use those because those were too long for this. It's not a Bargain Bethany Dollar Tree Christmas video if there's not a hot cocoa bar in this. This is pretty much what I'm known for when it comes to Christmas time. So I'm using the crates from Dollar Tree to create little compartments within that larger crate. Like I said, this isn't optional, but it's nice because it can keep things separate. This part's also optional. I got 2 more of those wooden planks. I'm going to glue them together so that they can go over the top of my hot cocoa bar and hide that wire. We spray painted this red. We removed the crates before doing that. I decided I didn't want to glue in the crates just in case I wanted to use this for something else. I want some labels for my hot cocoa bar, so I got these chalkboard stands, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of them off of the stick and then some I'm going to leave on the stick. I used my Cricut to cut out some vinyl to put labels on the front of the chalkboard and also a label on the top of my little hot cocoa bar. I then glue down my chalkboard tags and I start to add my ingredients. So basically this is not food safe. So if you're going to stick anything inside of here that is open, you want to lay something like a Ziploc bag inside of the crate before sticking anything open inside of there. It's nice to have individually wrapped items, especially if you're going to have this on your counter all season long. That way nothing gets stale. If you use the exact same wooden pieces as I did, you're only able to hang smaller mugs off of the little hooks, and I'll link these mugs down below for you guys. They're so cute. If you want longer, larger mugs, you're just gonna have to get a longer piece of the wooden slab so you have more height. So that's it for my 2024 hot cocoa bar. I am so happy with how this one turned out. I try to do them a little differently every single year, and this one is probably one of my favorite ones because of the hooks.
For our next project, you're going to get 2 pieces of black foam board and you are going to roll each piece. Once you get it into a cylinder shape, you're going to seal it by using some hot glue, and you can even use zip ties if your hot glue isn't gluing properly. Hold the foam in place as you wait for the glue to completely dry. Now you're going to glue these 2 foam board pieces to a pizza pan from Dollar Tree. Just flip it over and glue down. On top of the foam board pieces, I'm going to glue down a laundry basket from Dollar Tree. And then on top of that laundry basket, I glue down 2 more laundry baskets. We're going to need poster board. Dollar Tree carries a bunch of different colors. And what we're going to do is we're going to wrap the poster board around the laundry baskets, creating a nutcracker. So I put the gold down. For some reason, this didn't record. I used 2 pieces of gold down there, and then I used red right above the gold. The gold poster board actually wedges between the bottom and middle laundry basket perfectly. I cut down some red foam board, roll it, and then glue it to create the arms for my nutcracker. I had this beige craft foam that I paid 99 cents for 2 pieces from Hobby Lobby. I'm going to use that for the head. You can get poster board, paint it, but this has such a cleaner look to it. And then I take a black piece of foam board and I wrap that around the top of the head. Then I just glue down the head. For my nutcracker's hair, and then in the center of the nutcracker, I'm going to be using some dusters from Dollar Tree. So you can buy felt and craft foam, but the craft foam is much smaller from Dollar Tree, and use these to create the details for your nutcracker. I recommend doing this versus painting over the poster board. Why? Because paint can warp the poster board, and also if you make a mistake, it is so hard to fix it, because once you make that mistake, you're going to have to color correct to the poster board, and that makes a big mess. Just make everything out of craft foam or felt and then glue that down, and it's so much easier. For the hands, I just used the beige craft foam that I had left over. I just rolled it up and then shoved it into the arms, and they just stay put. Beside craft foam and felt for the details, there was only one other thing that I used, and that was ribbon. I used it to create some designs along the arms and then on top of the chest. I love him so much. He is just under 7 feet tall. I would say that this is really just for the season unless you have somewhere to store it. You just have to be careful because it can knock into things, damaging the poster board. However, if you take this apart, you can still save the head, you can save the laundry baskets, the leg, and the pizza pan. The only stuff you'll have to throw away is probably the poster board, because once you take it off of the laundry basket, the poster board will rip. This cost me around $20 to make. I am absolutely in love with him. One of my favorite Christmas DIYs ever.
Did you know you can make Christmas decor using hangers and zip ties from Dollar Tree? You're going to take 2 hangers and zip tie them together. It's up to you to put them in whatever direction or way you want to zip tie them to each other. I just put both ends near each other and zip tie them. You're going to zip tie the top and bottom of each set you make, and you want to make at least 8 sets of these. And I recommend putting a dab of hot glue wherever 2 hangers meet. So what you're going to do is you're going to take 4 sets of these hangers and place them near each other to create pretty much a snowflake or star design. It depends how you look at it. Once you have them all placed near each other, you're going to zip tie those pieces together. I'm zip tying wherever 2 of the hooks from the hangers. Now the 4 other sets of hangers I have, I'm going to place on top of those 4 that are laying on the ground, and I'm just creating a snowflake design that I like. Once I have everything set in place, again, I zip tie all of this together. Don't be stingy with the zip ties. You don't want this to fall apart on you. I made 2 snowflakes. On one of the snowflakes, I glued down a jumbo snowflakes I got for $2 from Walmart. These are so darn easy to make, and you can always switch the designs up and add more hangers if you want to, or add small little children's hangers as well. So easy to do, and I would prefer to use these outside. The only reason why I didn't is because when I filmed this, it's still Halloween. I did not want to look crazy to my neighbors putting Christmas decorations outside. So here they are inside. You can use them inside though if you want to. They're really nice. The next time you're in Dollar Tree, get some of their foam rounds. You're also going to need craft foam or paint for this. I prefer to use craft foam. I think you get a cleaner look. I got it from Hobby Lobby for 99 cents. You can get craft foam from Dollar Tree. The only thing is it's small sheets, so you're going to have to end up spending more money than you would by just going to Hobby Lobby. And you can never find the colors you want. So what I'm doing is I'm tracing the styrofoam onto the craft foam, and then I'm also tracing the sides of the styrofoam on the craft foam. Once I have that done, I cut these pieces out. I got other colors of craft foam that I'm going to use to create the details for what I'm making, and basically I'm just making gingerbread lollipops. So with the white craft foam, I'm going to go ahead and create the icing look that I want, so just kind of a round border with little waves going through it, and then I'm just going to cut that out. Before I cut out any more features, I glued down the gold craft foam to my styrofoam. I put the border on first, and then I placed the round piece on top of that. I then glued down the icing. Now for the eyes and the cheeks, I'm just using black craft foam and red glitter craft foam. I have scrap pieces. I have so much of this stuff, so I'm just using little scrap pieces I have on hand for this. I made girl and boy gingerbreads to make it look like a girl. I just made sure I glued down a bow. For the handles of my lollipops, I'm using these wooden dowels I got from Dollar Tree. I just pushed them through the styrofoam, and then I painted those dowels white. I got little red bows from Dollar Tree. I'm going to glue them below the gingerbread heads. You can always make the bows if you want to. And finally, I got some red rhinestone ribbon from Dollar Tree that I'm going to glue and wrap around the wooden dowels. How cute are these gingerbread lollipops? And I'll try to link as many of my decor pieces that I can down below for you guys. I get lots of questions about the mirrors in the back. I get questions about the polar bear I have and the lights that I use that change colors. They will all be linked down below for you guys if you're interested. It doesn't matter what decor you have, you can make lollipops that suit your decor, and it just looks absolutely adorable. During summertime, I stocked up on sand buckets from Dollar Tree because I knew exactly what I wanted to do with them. I'm turning these into gumdrops. Honestly, you can leave these buckets as is. I decided to paint over the buckets with a chunky glitter paint, and while that paint was still wet, I poured some glitter on top of that, so a white glitter, and this is going to give it that more sugary look that a gumdrop has. I know it's hard to find sand buckets in Dollar Tree right now, so check online because there's a bunch of retailers that have them for an inexpensive price. And if you don't want to buy them this year, just keep your eyes open for them next year so you can use this idea. Just place them down on the ground and you're good to go. If you live in an area that's really windy during winter time, you can get these metal stakes from Amazon. I'll link them down below for you guys. You just push them into the rim of the bucket and they'll stay in place. And I'm just talking about if it's really windy where you live during winter time, because for the most part, they're not going to budge. Last year, I got so many comments on this peppermint stack that I got from At Home. So I'm going to share with you guys how you can DIY something similar. Now, you cannot get this from from Dollar Tree, you're gonna need some big styrofoam rounds. I got all of mine at Hobby Lobby. The biggest one is $6.99, the medium size one is $5.99, and then the smallest one is $4.49. You can paint your peppermint designs directly on the styrofoam. I don't like to do that because if you make one little mistake, it looks messed up. So I prefer to use craft foam. If I make a mistake, I just have to cut another piece of craft foam. So what I do is I trace out the styrofoam round, figure out the center of that round that I drew on the styrofoam, and then I create my peppermint design, but I make sure every point of the peppermint line, I don't know if that makes sense, starts at that center. That way I get a nice look to the peppermint. And once I have all those pieces cut, I'm just going to glue them on top of my styrofoam. Then I cut little pieces of the red craft foam to go along the sides of the styrofoam, and I glue those pieces down. I got some clear cellophane from Dollar Tree. I'm gonna place my styrofoam pieces in that clear cellophane, and I'm going to use it to make a wrapper around each piece of styrofoam. I think this gives it a cute look. It's not similar to that peppermint stack from At Home. I still think it's cute, so that's what I'm doing. I'm using zip ties to tie the ends in place, that way it doesn't go anywhere. I'm going to take my largest piece of peppermint and I'm going to create a hole in the center of it using a knife. Now the knife does not go all the way through this big styrofoam piece, so I'm going to just start that hole off, and then I'm going to take a wooden dowel and push the peppermint through the wooden dowel. And I do this very slowly. If you push too fast, you run the risk of breaking the styrofoam. Then I take my medium-sized peppermint. Again, I try to start the hole on one side, and then I slowly push that through the wooden dowel. Again, be slow with it. And I add my smallest piece to the top. This one doesn't have to go all the way through. Now the original plan was to take this peppermint stack and put it inside of a planter. I did that and it looked horrible. So instead I went and I made some more peppermint pieces. I used 3 smaller styrofoam pieces and 1 medium piece. Going to glue them together, but before I do that, I just create a hole in the center of my medium piece. I glued the 3 smaller peppermints together and then the medium-sized peppermint on top of that. And then I just push my stack through that medium-sized peppermint. You guys, I actually like this a lot better than the at-home peppermints that I have. This is so freaking cute. Doesn't it look like peppermints that you buy at the store that are wrapped up? And this can be used outside. The thing is, you would just probably have to put a little brick or something heavy on the back peppermint that you don't see. That way it stays in place if it gets too windy, but this is going to be fine to use outside.
Next time you're in Dollar Tree, grab some punch bowls and fluted bowls. They have them in a bunch of different colors. I'm going to be using red for this particular project. What I'm going to do is I'm going to glue 2 punch bowls together by using some E6000 and then a little bit of hot glue. I use hot glue because it just dries quickly and I want to move this right along, but E6000 does a really good job of holding everything together. Then I glue the fluted bowls to what would be the bottom of the punch bowls. I also did this with some clear bowls, but first I glue a punch bowl and fluted bowl together, and then I drill a hole. You want to be slow and steady with your drill. If you go too fast, you're going to crack the plastic. Once I have the hole there, I glue on the other side of this, and then I'm going to feed some fairy lights through the hole. These fairy lights I got from Amazon. I like them because you can turn them all on at once with a remote control. You can get fairy lights at Dollar Tree, but you have to turn them all on individually. So I'll link these down below for you guys. And what we made are some jumbo pieces of candy, and you can use this outside. Best of all, it is so cool and inexpensive to make. You can make this real inexpensive by not doing the fairy lights. It's completely up to you, but this is an awesome idea for the holiday season. This is so awesome, you guys. The next time you're in Dollar Tree, check out the party supply section. Look for their hats, especially the glitter hats. What you're going to do is you are just going to trim the bottom portion of the hats off. So lots of the hats have a black line going through them or a silver line. You're going to get rid of that. You might be able to find these hats that have a happy birthday little piece on there that slides right off. And then you can, again, trim the bottom part off. What you're doing is making some jumbo gumdrops. You can place them all down individually somewhere inside of your house, or you can glue some together. So I decided to glue 6 of them together to create one bigger unit that's easier to move around. You can see here I can grab this with one hand and it's good to go. This is so cool, you guys, because all it is cutting down a hat from Dollar Tree. I love the way that this looks, especially because you guys know me, I love the whole little fake sweet look.
For our next DIY, you're going to need some pool noodles from Dollar Tree, preferably the green ones. I'm going to take a green pool noodle and slice it down the middle. Then I'm going to take a zip tie and tie the ends of both pool noodles that I just sliced up. Then I'm going to twist these two pieces around each other. It almost looks like one big twisted pretzel. I then zip tie the other end. Now I got these solar lights that look like Christmas light bulbs. I'm going to be wrapping them around the pool noodles. They have these little hooks that come off easily, and that's how I wrap it around the pool noodles. Now you cannot wrap it around both pieces. You have to go around one to do it, and that's why I sliced the pool noodle in half versus using two separate pool noodles, because to wrap this around one whole pool noodle, it's not going to work. You'll have to zip tie it on or something. Once that's done, I take another pool noodle and slice down pieces that I can use to fill in gaps and also areas that I feel like need to look more whole. These are supposed to be jumbo Christmas lights. To make a jumbo plug, I picked up a garbage pail from Dollar Tree and we spray painted it green. I placed the garbage can on top of a piece of foam board from Dollar Tree. I trace it and then cut that piece out. That piece is going to go in the inside of the garbage. Dollar Tree carries a bunch of wood slat pieces. I'm going to be using two flat 18-inch pieces. I'm going to use these as the prongs for my plug. So I place them on top of the foam board, figure out where I need to cut a spot for these pieces. I then paint the inside, including the foam board, green, the little prong pieces gray, and then I push those pieces through the holes that I created. I used only two pool noodles for this DIY, so the one that I used to fill in the gaps of the cord, I take the extra pool noodle I have and cut pieces that will be glued to the garbage pail, and those pieces can be used to hide the zip ties on the cord and also attach the cord part. I also use pool noodle to cover up the zip ties on the other end. So there's options here. I'm putting remote controlled fairy lights in the inside of each bulb, and I'll link the ones I use down below for you guys. Because I attached the solar light part so close to the pool noodle, it's not going to absorb sunlight, and I'm not going to be using this outside. So to get them to glow, I'm just using fairy lights. There's different ways that you can do this. This is just the easiest way that I found. That's how I made these jumbo Christmas lights using Dollar Tree products. I've been seeing people make these recently using pop bottles. It just looks so much more complicated, so I was trying to think, how can I do the same thing but with Dollar Tree products and where it's a little bit easier? So that's what I came up with, and I really hope you guys like it.
For our next DIY, you're going to need foam board, fake snow, snowflakes from Dollar Tree, and some clear string. Dollar Tree does carry all of these items except for clear string. So first off, I'm taking all of my snowflakes and tying some of this clear string to each snowflake. You can use as many pieces of foam board as you want for this DIY. I'm using two and I'm gluing them together. Now you're going to need some remote controlled lights. I got these LED strip lights. I'll link them down below for you guys from Amazon. There's an adhesive on the back of them and they're battery operated. So all you're going to do is glue the battery pack down and then put your light strips onto the foam board. Now you're going to take your fake snow and lay it on top of the foam board. Once you have it laid out, you're going to glue it into place. I got this large sheet from Hobby Lobby. It was $5. Dollar Tree does carry fake snow, but it's this tiny little sheet. You're going to have to buy a bunch of packs just to cover up a piece of foam board. It's cheaper to go somewhere else like Hobby Lobby or Walmart. You're going to get more bang for your buck. After the snow is glued down, I cut off any excess snow that I do not need. It's another option for lights. You can get remote controlled fairy lights from Amazon. These are my favorite fairy lights. I'll link them down below for you guys. What you'll do is you'll staple around the fairy lights to the foam board. You don't want to glue the fairy lights down because you're going to damage them, and you can't just place them in the snow because it's just going to fall down and it's not going to stay put. So using the stapler keeps them in place without damaging the lights. Now I ripped the pieces of the snow blanket and fluffed it up, and I'm going to glue these pieces around the fairy lights. So I don't put the glue on top of the fairy lights. Again, I don't want to damage any of the lights. I'm gluing around that so that it stays put and gives it a really cool effect. After I've done that, it's time to glue down my snowflakes. So what I do is I rip small little holes through the snow so that I'm touching the foam board directly, putting glue down there, and then gluing down my string that's attached to the snowflake. You don't want to glue the snowflakes directly to the snow. If you do that, the snowflakes are going to be too heavy for the snow and the snow is going to end up falling. I'm going to be sticking this to the ceiling. To do that, I'm using command strips. You do not want to be stingy with the command strips. Use a bunch, and if you don't want to use command strips, use push pins, and that way you don't have to use a bunch of push pins. So that the edges of my piece blend in better with the ceiling, I'm grabbing more fake snow and just shoving it around the edges of the foam board to give it more of a blended look. Then you could just turn your lights on. The LED strips They change colors, like I said. The twinkle lights I prefer more than the LED strips. I thought I was going to like both of them together, but I really just prefer the twinkle light. Dollar Tree does carry fairy lights that you can use. The only thing is they're not remote controlled, so you would have to climb up a ladder to turn on the lights every single time you want to use them. I wish this showed up better on camera because I'm telling you guys, this is so magical. It's one of my favorite DIYs in this video. Since I've put this up and people have visited, everybody who has visited has commented on this and how cool it is. It is so gorgeous.
You're going to need some candy canes, and I'm going to be using the cylinder box from Dollar Tree. I'm going to start hot gluing my candy canes to the box. Now you can glue the candy canes side by side without the box. It just is more time consuming and you have a higher chance of it falling apart on you. Dollar Tree carries 3 different sizes of the cylinder boxes. This is the largest one that they carried. So I needed 5 boxes of the candy canes to go all around this box. I purchased some red ribbon from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to wrap that around the candy canes by using some hot glue to make sure it stays in place, and it helps secure the candy canes into place a little bit more. Then I glue a bow to the front of this that I made using that same red ribbon. Inside of this you can place whatever you want. I decided to place some poinsettias inside of this, some real poinsettias, and it is so pretty. It makes for a great decor piece or centerpiece. This is the larger one that I made, and then I also made a smaller one using a smaller cylinder box from Dollar Tree. For our next DIY, I'm going to be using 13 of these wood boxes with drawers from Dollar Tree. I'll pull the drawers out and then flip them over so that the back is showing. I'm also going to be using the wood rounds from Dollar Tree. These actually can be cut into using scissors because they're so thin. So I'm actually just going to trace a new circle on top of one of the wood rounds and then cut it out so I have smaller pieces. I then paint all of the wood rounds and wood boxes that I have 2 different shades of brown. I'm using 4 wood rounds total, so I'll refer to them as extra small, small, medium, and large. So I start off with the largest wood round and glue 5 boxes on top of that. I then glue down my medium sized wood round on top of those 5 boxes. Then I glue down 4 boxes onto the medium wood round. On top of those boxes, I glued down my small wood round, and so basically, again, it's supposed to look like a Christmas tree, but this time around it has wooden boxes. This is inspired by an advent calendar that you can get at Hobby Lobby, but it's so hard to find, and I'm only using 13 boxes because each one of these is $1.25. If I used 25 boxes, this would be pretty pricey. So then I'm going to decorate this a little bit by adding some bottle brush trees from Dollar Tree. Drawers need some knobs, so I'm just going to use this would-be wreath I also got from Dollar Tree. I'll cut into it so I could take the beads off. I then glue those to the drawers. I then decided to make the drawers look like little gingerbread houses, so I took a white paint pen and I started to paint some details onto what would be the houses, and then I took some red paint and green paint to make it stand out a little bit more, make it look like there's peppermint and Christmas lights. I got these gingerbread men stickers at Hobby Lobby, half off. They're $2.50. I'm going to glue a bunch of them to this. Dollar Tree just carry these small gingerbread men that you have to paint over, and honestly, to get them to look this detailed, you'll have a very hard time because they're tiny. So it's easier just to go buy them for $2.50 at Hobby Lobby. I used 2 packs. I got this mini tree topper from Dollar Tree. I cut it down and then I glue it on top of this. So I have this tree looking advent calendar. It kind of reminds me of the village that we just made, except this one is an advent calendar. You can fill it up with treats or sweets, whatever you want. It's so nice. It looks very high end. For our next DIY, I'm going to be using these candy jars from Dollar Tree. I'm not going to be using the lid, and I'm going to paint these. Now you're going to have to do at least 2 layers of paint to get an opaque look. So you'll do your first layer, let it dry, and then go in with your paint to paint on the second layer. Once that's dry, paint on a face. So I'm doing, I call it a dummy face. It just kind of reminds me of those Crash dummies. It's a very basic face. You got some circle eyes, an easy smile, and then a circle nose with some circle cheeks. So I'm just using black and red paints for this. Now Dollar Tree carries these canisters in multiple sizes. I'm going to be using the largest one they carry for this, and I'm going to be painting this red. Again, you're going to have to do at least 2 layers of paint to get an opaque look. Once I have that down, I'm going to start painting features on this. So basically this is going to be a toy soldier. So I'm going to have a black belt on this. I did a white
X, and then I did some gold belts. So do whatever you like. I'm just going for that classic toy soldier look.
And this is what I mean. You don't always need a Cricut. It's nice because it's so easy to use. Everything comes out perfect. Whereas using your hand, you know, lots of times you're going to have imperfections. You're not going to get the straightest line and all that. But you know what? You don't always need a Cricut. There are other options out there if you don't want one.
For the arms, I'm going to be using some pool noodles from Dollar Tree. I cut them down and then I painted them with that ruby color because I wanted it to match the rest of the toy soldier. And then for the arms, I'm going to be using some styrofoam balls. Dollar Tree carries styrofoam balls. These are 6 for $4.49, and they are the size of the bigger balls that Dollar Tree tends to carry. What I like about these is it's a smooth foam, so it's easier to paint. If you use the Dollar Tree foam, it's not as smooth, so it's not as easy to paint because it absorbs the paint so much.
Now's the time to stock up on planters from Dollar Tree. I'm going to be using the smaller ones that they carry for this project. I got a blue one that I wanted to be more of a denim blue color, so I went ahead and I painted that. Once that was dried, I then glue my canister to the inside of this planter. So the planter is supposed to be the legs of the toy soldier, and then the canister is the body. Then I glue on the candy jar. Obviously, this is the head. And on top of that, I glue on a black planter. I just flip it upside down and glue that to the candy jar. It only hits on the sides, so that's the only area where you can put glue.
On the sides of this, I glued down the pool noodles, which is obviously the arms, and then the styrofoam balls, which are supposed to be the hands. I did paint a little bit more over this, but that is how I made some toy soldiers using Dollar Tree products. I don't know if you guys remember the ones from the 90s that you would find at Walmart. Those are really hard to find now, and they're expensive. This turned out really cool. It was inexpensive to make, and I have multiple styrofoam balls and pool noodle to use for other ones. I did make a golden pink one, and I'll link that down below for you guys my TikTok, because that one's going to go up on my TikTok account.
Get a white candle from Dollar Tree and some Model Magic, at least 2 packs for each candle. I'm going to be using a square cookie cutter for this, but you can always just use your knife to create these squares. I'm going to take 2 packs of Model Magic, mush the Model Magic together, and then I'm going to roll it out. Once I get it rolled out enough to get 2 squares out of it, I take my cookie cutter and use it to cut out these squares from the Model Magic. I'm making these squares look like graham crackers, so take something fine and pointed. I'm using a bamboo skewer and use it to create the little markings that you need to make this look like a graham cracker. You're gonna have leftover Model Magic. You'll roll it out again and then take the lid of your candle and just roll it through the Model Magic so you get the perfect width that you need and length. Then you're gonna cut that out. Wrap this piece around your candle lid and then use your finger to blend it on top of the lid and underneath the lid, making sure this goes nowhere. You need to wait for your Model Magic to completely dry. This takes at least a day to do. Once your Model Magic is dried, you can then paint it. I used Americana honey brown paint for the graham crackers, and I made sure I got in every little crevice. I needed a smaller detail brush to get inside of the little holes that I made. Then the Model Magic that's around the lid, you want to make that look like chocolate. I'm using this chocolate brown color. Once the paint is dry, you can put the lid on top of your candle. Now the graham crackers, the one that's going to go at the bottom, do not glue that to the candle, but the one that goes on the top can be glued to the lid. I used my Cricut to cut out some vinyl that has these cute little faces. I'll link the Etsy seller I bought these from down below for you guys. You can use a paint pen instead or some felt and glue it on using some hot glue. I just don't know if it might come off with the flame of the candle. Now my son, he kept bugging me as I was filming this. He just wanted the cracker.
Want crackers?
It's fake crackers. They're not real.
What's that?
I put on all the little face features. I did one that had like fudge with the vinyl, and then I did one that didn't have any fudge. There's a slightly different way of doing this if you do not want to use the Model Magic. I got a different candle this time. I put the little face on the front of it, and this time instead of using the Model Magic, I'm going to be using coasters from Dollar Tree. All you have to do is paint your coasters. The good thing is they take paint really, really well. Then get a finer brush to paint the details of the graham cracker on top of your coasters. I painted the edges of the candle brown. I'm doing the same thing as the other candle. I place a coaster on the bottom, and then I'm going to put the candle on top of that. Then the graham cracker that's going on the very top of the lid, I glued down. I didn't glue down the bottom graham cracker because I don't know how the candle heat is going to react with the glue. It might melt it, and I don't know how it's going to react with Model Magic. So you can display it as a graham cracker, but when you light it, you just go ahead and you remove all the other pieces. For video purposes, I do have the candle lit on top of the Model Magic, but like I said, I would remove it from the bottom graham cracker. With the coaster though, it should be okay with the candle on top of the coaster.
For this DIY, you're going to need some foam board from Dollar Tree. HomeGoods carries this beautiful gingerbread house that costs around $100. I haven't seen it in stores at all, so I wanted to make something similar enough using Dollar Tree products. You're going to use the foam board to create the walls and roof of your gingerbread house. If you want this to be smaller, you most definitely can. I'll have the measurements I used linked in the description box down below. I got brown poster board 3 sheets. I'm going to be placing the foam board pieces I cut out and tracing them on top of the foam board, then cutting out those pieces and gluing them to the foam board pieces that I traced. I'm using poster board because when I glue this to the foam board, it doesn't bow like painting the foam board does. It starts to warp and it looks horrible. So after I've done this, I'm going to take a pencil, I'm going to draw on some window shapes, and then I'm going to cut them using my razors. Once you cut your windows out, you can go ahead and start gluing all the foam board pieces together. Inside of the house, I secure the corners with some hot glue. I didn't place poster board on top of the roof pieces. Now the more time consuming part is the painting aspect. It depends how detailed you make this, because if it's not as detailed, probably won't take as long. I was just trying to mimic what I saw from the HomeGoods gingerbread house, but not entirely, because honestly it's super hard to recreate that. Might be easy if you're an expert painter. Finally, I got this fake snow that's like a chunky glitter. I'm going to put glue on top of the roof and then pour this all over the roof to give it a really nice look. You can put some tea lights or fairy lights inside of your gingerbread house. This came out so beautiful. It cost me $10 to make. If you don't have a place to store this, you can always make something smaller to make it easier to store.
So that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure to subscribe for more Dollar Tree Christmas DIYs. I'm gonna have a bunch coming out for you guys real soon. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.